All right, Cool Hand Podcast, something you got to deal with. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host. My name is Q. We have another interview in the building. Um, let's get started. We have another interview in the building. Everybody likes to look nice, right? And people love accessories. People like to match stuff up. I'm wearing an accessory myself. I have a watch on, but the watch isn't the most important accessory I have on today. I have on a nice bracelet that was made by my guest today. And guest, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Lauren. I am the creator of Renny Jewelry, and I live in Arizona. I'm 23, and I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you on. So, Lauren, Renny Made Jewelry. We're going to talk about that. And once again, thanks for being on today. I appreciate it. And I'm sure whoever's watching appreciates it. I want to get to know you a little bit. We are friends. We go back a little bit. But for people who may not know you, maybe a new customer or something like that, let's introduce them to Lauren. Lauren, who are you? Where are you from?
That's a complicated question. So my parents are from Michigan. They went to Michigan State. They're from Detroit, and I was born in Detroit. But then when my parents got married, I was maybe like 1 or something. We moved to Los Angeles, California, and I was there till about 8. And then we moved to Pittsburgh, where I met you. And then eventually I was like, it's kind of cold here. So I was like, I'll just move back to Cali and see what happens from there. And you grow up and you want to be an adult so badly, and then you get out into the real world and you're like, oh, I have to pay bills, I have to cook food after work, and I'm already tired. And so I was like, okay. So after like a year and a half of being back in Cali, I moved to Arizona, where my mom moved, and I'm in school right now. So just trying to pay my bills.
Mm-hmm. What are you in school for?
I'm in school for it's called speech language pathology assistant. So wow. I just say speech therapy for like I want to work with children, but I think you can also work with like adults who have had a stroke or some kind of like traumatic brain injury, and so you help them with the way they speak and whatever. There's a whole lot to it, a lot more than I had anticipated.
Yeah. No, that sounds pretty cool. Like it sounds really important too. I guess it's the pathology part that really makes it gives it an extra oomph. So Detroit, LA, Pittsburgh, LA, Arizona.
Yeah.
You've been around. So with that being said, you've been all over the place, whether it's when you were younger, 8 and moving. What was life like for you growing up?
Ooh, so I'm an only child. And I think I spent a lot of time around adults, and I kind of got acclimated with kind of just being able to maneuver an adult world with being a child. And then I think that growing up, I kind of needed to mature myself a little bit more, because as a child, you don't know everything. But I think when you spend a lot of time around adults, you think you know everything. And so I would kind of just try to find a creative outlet to channel my energy into. And I think that's where Renny Made Jewelry came from. Just even now, I needed a creative outlet. So I would get into music, and I would get into painting and art and different stuff. And I'd make jewelry for my friends, and it wasn't very good, but I was small enough for my friends and my family to be like, oh, this is so cute. And I think now I kind of stepped it up a little bit, if I can say.
Oh yeah, I would say, you know what? I didn't even know jewelry was a thing that you did. Like I saw the page. I think your Instagram page was recommended.
Really?
And like of course I didn't know who you were or what it was. And then I think you like promoted it on your personal page, and I'm like, Rennie made jewelry. I'm like, okay, this is Lauren. So yeah, so this was a surprise to me. I'm like, oh, she's really out here busting out the jewelry. But before we before we get to the actual jewelry making, I'm glad you talked about what you were doing creatively as you were growing up. Thank you for that. Now, you talked about music. Speaking of which, this thing isn't always here. I brought this out just for you. Not the record, that's for decoration, but the actual record player. I
Yes.
if you remember, I bought this with you. You actually you didn't push me, but you inspired me to get this record player.
Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah, I remember we were out somewhere. It was just, a few of us friends, and you suggested I get it, and I'm glad I got it. I love this record player, and so that's a little piece of history of Rennie Made Jewelry's Lauren and myself. There's you have some deep roots in music. And I wanted to talk about that very briefly as well. When it comes to music, you don't only, make the jewelry. What can you do musically?
Um, I I play guitar. That's like my main instrument that I play. And I've taken piano lessons on and off since I was like 5. I played the violin when I was in elementary school for about 4 years, I think. And then eventually I convinced my mom, I was like, please just buy me a cello, please. And I didn't do anything with that cello. I like got a few lessons from a sister in Sheridan. And, she was like, Lauren, you got to practice. And I don't know why, it just didn't stick with me, but I think it's a beautiful instrument. I'm trying to think. I did try out the clarinet for a second.
Oh,
Hot.
really? Wow.
Yeah.
Let me add that to the list.
But like some of these instruments I don't remember, but I imagine I'm the kind of person that I'll see somebody doing something and I'll be like, wait, I want to do that. And I'll search a YouTube video, look for a song, and that's how I learned guitar. I just I was a big fan of Taylor Swift, don't judge me, but I really, really respected her as an artist. And I haven't listened to her in the last maybe 4 years, but this new album I really like a lot. I think it's really cool about storytelling and just musicianship and how you can you can take people to where you're at with just a song. And so I think with her, that's how I got into songwriting. And my parents are both writers. My dad's a poet, and he'd tell me, he's like, you need to do this, and then you'll have, a good solid um piece of work, whatever it is, poetry or creative writing, story, whatever. And I think all of that together kind of inspired me to get into music. So that's a long-winded kind of thing, but
No, I'm learning. I'm learning. Like like I mentioned, we've known each other, but I didn't know things like that, like your dad being a poet, um, the Taylor Swift part of your music taste. I didn't know this. And Taylor Swift could do her thing. I'm a natural hater. So, I like to I like to hate on Taylor Swift. She's one of the people I hate on, for
yeah.
no good reason other
Yeah.
than me being a hater.
You know what? I think I went through, like, when I was a kid, I was like, I don't know, 10. When I started playing guitar, I was 10. So I think that's when one of her albums came out, and nobody really knew who she was, but she used some of the same chords on guitar. And I was like, oh, this is easy. Like, I can learn all her songs just by the few chords that she learns. And then growing up, she kind of became so mainstream that I kind of dismissed her. And I was like, I don't know
Mhm.
about her. But I think as time has gone on, I've kind of looked more into, I don't really listen to like popular music, but I've looked more to songwriters and what are they talking about and how did they turn this into a story. And I think that's why I'm kind of like back on her now. I'm like, wait a second. I kind of respect her a lot,
Mhm.
the way that but I feel you about that. Like, I was a hater for a second. I was like, she's basic. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's why we're friends too. We can be
You
some
just hate
natural
on
born.
people.
We can be haters, and I own it. I own it. I'm a hater. But anyway, so as mentioned beforehand, you've been around. You've experienced different places within the United States. Now, you lived in Pittsburgh for a while, and
Mhm.
of course, that's where I met you. Um, but now being on the West Coast, LA to Arizona, what's life like on the West Coast compared to Pittsburgh? And Pittsburgh is a whole different. I know there has to be some vast differences. Can you talk about that?
It's a whole different animal. It's funny because I really like parts of the East Coast, and like one of my friends, we visited a lot of states in New England one year, and I was like, this is so different from Pittsburgh. This is so different. So I don't know if it's because I lived in Pittsburgh so long and I kind of know the ins and outs, but I think the East Coast is very has a lot of history. I think it's the East Coast is kind of classy and I really like it a lot. It's just the weather. It's so cold, you know. Like I don't like the cold. I like the heat. And I think the West Coast, it's different vibes, you know. It's pros and cons with everything, of course. But the West Coast, I think, is I'm drawn more to the West Coast because it's more relaxed and warm, and you kind of just you show up and you're like welcomed. But
Hmm.
I feel like when you go to the East Coast, they're kind of like, "So where are you from? What you doing here? How long are you gonna be here?" And you kind of gotta get acclimated. But I feel like I have a personality where I just don't care.
Hmm.
I'm like, don't ask me any more questions because I'm not gonna answer them. So I think it depends on the person, like what you're gonna like. But yeah, pros and cons for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Like every other place. And I think that was an accurate, the way you described being welcomed in Pittsburgh. I think that was very accurate. Like we went to right before COVID started, thankfully, we went back down to Georgia where I lived for a while. And I'm like, man, I want to move back.
Hmm.
And then like the price of the cost of living down there is a little high. So
Hmm.
needless to say, we're still here. But thanks for sharing. And we'll talk about your travels and where you've been as we get into this next part of the interview, which is let's talk about why you're here. Rennie made jewelry. I got my jewels on. I love my bracelet, by the way. Um,
Oh, I'm glad.
yeah, and I have to get more. I know we're recording on November 26th, so you'll be having a Black Friday sale.
Yeah, trying to get some stuff out, get it out of my house.
Uh,
I got some new ideas brewing, and I'm like, let me just start over and you know, yeah, yeah, check it out. And
yeah,
then
yeah. While we're on that subject, where can we find you? Where can we find you?
so I'm on Instagram right now, rennymade.jewelry, I believe. I'm pretty sure. And I don't have an Etsy, but I feel like it'll come in time. If my sales slow down or something, or I feel like it's a little bit dry, maybe I'll open an Etsy. But for now, just Instagram. So yeah.
So Rennie made jewelry. We'll put that up on the screen. I'll put that up there for anybody who watches on YouTube. And when it comes to the origins of Rennie made jewelry, you talked about how when you were younger, one of your creative outlets were to make jewelry for your friends. It may not have been as good, but it was something that you did. So let's fast forward to 2020. What was the idea or inception behind Rennie made jewelry?
Well, like I said, I'm in school. So, okay. So earlier this year, I was a full-time student and then I was working full-time at an elementary school. And so I can't believe I did that because I think I just blacked out how tired I was because now I'm like, I can barely do school. But they continued through the school year, but I just felt like my mom was like, I don't know if it's safe. She works at a school too. And she's like, I'd rather you just, stay at home and focus on school while this pandemic is going on. I was like, but I need money though. So So I was just like, I was kind of thinking about it for a while. And I saw a lot of jewelry accounts on Instagram and I was like, oh, this is cool. This is cool. But I wouldn't make it like that. And I was like, what if you go back to the jewelry making you did when you were a kid, but you kind of stepped it up a little and did a little bit more with it? What could you do? And so I'm like having, these are the conversations you have with yourself when you're an only child. And I'm like, okay, what could I do? And I spent one night just like ordering stuff online. And I was like, give yourself a limit of this amount of money and make something. And if it's not good, you're not going to sell it. If you think it's good, then go for it. And that's what I did. And I was like, oh my God, what if everyone hates it? And they're like, ooh, this isn't cute at all. But I don't know. It seemed to just come out of this pandemic. So I guess it was a blessing in disguise, you know?
Oh yeah, you seem to be doing well. You know, you can't judge everything off of social media, the perception that you get, but it seems like you're doing well. I know like one of our friends when you came out with the men's bracelets, he like added me. I'm like I was at work and I looked at my phone. I'm like, how am I getting tagged? And
Really?
yeah, like, but but it seems like, you know, I know. And then he posted, you know, the friend who bought some of your bracelets, he got four, like four. I got one. I'm like, okay.
I know. I was like, dang, okay.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, I guess I gotta step my Rennie made game up. But now you did have a knack for being crafty. And when you talked about is everybody gonna like it or is anyone gonna like it? What if everyone hates it? How did you get that confidence to actually put yourself out there?
Whew. I think I have always, I think this word is overused, but I think it, a doctor has told me this, that it applies to me, that I've dealt with just thoughts of anxiety all the time. And it's just something that you just deal with. And so these thoughts are running through my head like, maybe you shouldn't. Maybe this is not a good idea. I just kind of, I prayed about it for a second. And I don't know. I think my mom really helps me to make decisions. And so I'm asking her, I'm like, okay, what do you think if I do this? Is this good? And she'll tell me, she'll be like, no, no, that's not good. So like I had a talk with her and I was like, okay, do you think this is a good idea? And she's like, yes, just do it. Just try it out. Worst comes to worst, nobody buys anything. Your life isn't over. Just do it. If you like it, then just check it out and see what you can do. So
Mhm. Worst case scenario, if no one was buying your stuff, fake it till you make it.
yeah.
Give one to your mom, take
Hmm.
a picture of her and some of her jewelry. Say, thanks for my first customer who paid, you know, $25 for this piece. I'm selling out so fast. And I bet you get more customers. But you didn't have to deal with that. You did
Yeah.
not have to deal with that. People latched onto it. And carrying out that idea, even if it's just being on Instagram, that's a lot of work. Keeping up with, you know, posting and stuff like that, and you know, you're getting DMs with orders and everything. So, how much or how little of stress or how much do you have to deal with that? Keeping up with people, keeping in contact with people, because you had pretty good communication with me when I made my purchase.
Oh, thanks. Um, yeah, people, when people order stuff, they usually slide in my DMs and I don't have, I probably shouldn't say this, but I don't have my notifications on for Instagram just because I have like, you know, I have a love-hate relationship with Instagram. And so I just like to have a designated time that I do my business. And so I keep it on there. And I don't know, I think my customers so far have been pretty respectful of like the time that I take to make things and then ship them out or message them back or whatever, because I think everybody's busy too. So staying on top of it, it's just, I don't know, a matter of my customers. I think it's on them. It's like they're cool with however it is that I handle my business, I guess.
Mhm. And you know what we're talking about, and by the way, I have my notifications off on my main account. Like I keep the podcast Instagram just in case, you know, I keep in contact with, some of the interviews I set up, but I feel you with the, Instagram ain't going nowhere. But
Exactly.
we're doing all this business talk and all this Rennie made jewelry, and I'm talking about my bracelet. And the one thing I forgot, so you have to please forgive me that I'm just getting to this now, but what do you offer?
Oh, well, I sell earrings for the majority for girls, but I started getting custom orders of bracelets really early on. And I don't personally I'm wearing bracelets right now, that one that my friend made, but two of these that I made. And I don't usually wear bracelets, but I just started to because my customers were like, "Hey, I like this. Can you make this?" And I'm like, "I think so." And so I would start to make bracelets for people, and then it turned into bracelets for men. It's so funny because one of my guy friends was like, "You should make men's jewelry." And again, my anxiety is like, "No, that's stupid." And I was like, "No, well, you're a guy, but like, it's only you saying that. So like, what guys follow me, and who's gonna buy them?" And then when you were like, when is men's jewelry coming? I was like, okay, I think I'll do bracelets because I like bracelets on guys actually. So what else? I've made a necklace. I don't really do that, but I'll make whatever you want.
Okay. So
Whatever.
custom orders are available.
Yes, custom orders are available. I take customs. I take your money first and then I do customs.
Yeah,
I've
you
made
got to
like
pay up.
stuff. Yeah, I've made stuff and they're like, "Oh wait, no, never mind. It doesn't look the way I want." So, you know, yeah.
Now, with everything, you talked about um the challenges, but I want to get in depth with some of the challenges now, the anxiety, the anxious thoughts, how am I going to do this? Are people going to like this or that? Let's talk about the ups and downs of creating and even the business side of selling. Let's be on a positive note first. What are some of the highs that you've experienced, the positive things you've experienced with creating and selling on Rennie Made Jewelry?
So I think obviously when I make a sale, I'm really excited about it. And then I think about if I have to make it, then I'm like, oh wait, when am I gonna make it? Because I got school, I got homework, I got stuff. And so I reserve for the weekends, just like making different things, and then I ship out on Mondays. And so I just kind of, I don't know. I don't know. I just figure it out as I go, I think. And but yeah, the anxiousness is always there. Um, I'm trying to I'm trying to think. You were saying like, how do I feel when I make a sale?
Yeah,
Or
just the positives in general of creating the jewelry and or selling it.
I don't know. I like making pretty things.
Hmm.
I don't know. I think it's the same with music. Like if I'm playing a pretty song and it comes out the way that I want, or I'm singing or I'm performing somewhere, singing a song, doing something with music, I feel really good. And I think it's not in a negative way, but I think it just adds to your confidence and you're like, wow, you really did that. Good for you.
Hmm.
So I think that's a big positive. And then I like making things for people and I like gift giving. So if I can combine those, then making somebody else happy and smile is nice for me.
Yeah, and I'm sure it was a relief when you launched and that people were buying what you were creating.
Hmm. Yeah, it sure was. But at the same time, I was still like, okay, how long is this gonna last?
Hmm.
It's always like something that piles on top of a success. I always like will doubt myself and be like, they're just being nice. They're just your friend. And then I started getting orders from people that I didn't know. And I was like, wait, you might be doing something nice here. So,
I love it. I love it because I know for myself, I thought I wanted to support. Okay, I followed your account. Cool. All right,
Mhm.
now what's next? And I'm like, well, I'm not gonna buy nothing. Like I can buy something for Kayla,
Right.
but I don't know if she'll like it, and I don't want to get anything that I like and she don't like, and she won't wear it, and whoop whoop whoop. So I'm glad you made the bracelets, and you're gonna have a returning customer with me because for one, I like to support my friends' businesses. That's one, and I like since I've gotten into the podcasting, I like to support more independent people rather than, buying a shirt or jewelry in this instance from ASOS or something cheap from
Yeah.
H&M or something. I'd rather get it from somebody who can appreciate the business a little more. So I definitely appreciate it. The homie that bought 3 or 4 bracelets of yours definitely appreciates it. So, and I hope your pockets appreciate it from all the business that you're getting.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Now, we talked about some positives, but with everything comes challenges. What are some of the main challenges that you've had to deal with in creating and selling on Rennie Made jewelry?
Well, I wanted to give up a few times, as maybe you could have seen from what I've been saying, but yeah, I wanted to give up. And then I talk myself back into it, and I'd be like, just rebrand or think of something else. Think of something new and that's you and authentic and that people will respond to. But really, like talking out of my negativity, talking myself out, I guess, is its own challenge because I'll just convince myself that, you know, I need to, I guess, I don't know, that I need to be doing something else with my time.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. I think that's my main thing. Um, too, this is kind of funny, but taking my packages to the post office every Monday, and they see me every Monday, and they're like, "Oh, you got more packages! Yay!" Because the post office is already slow, and they're already dealing with, they were dealing with like the election mail and stuff, and I was like, I don't want to inconvenience you guys, but here's 11 packages. So I don't know. I think, yeah, but I think the negativity is really like something that inner negativity that I struggle with a lot.
Mhm. Well, with the pieces, now speaking of the pieces, now mine, I'll put a picture of this, I'll be editing this video and all that stuff, try to make it presentable. Now you can't really tell on here, but my piece is so nice. I love this so much. Like it just, and I wear a lot of black.
Yeah.
So
It's so
uh,
funny because when I was making it, I was at Michael's and I was looking for different beads and I was texting my friend and who told me like you should make men's jewelry. I was like, do these look manly? And he's like, yes. Can you just make it? And so I was like, I need a black one because Quentin wears black and he asked me to make men's jewelry. So I feel like he would like a black one. So when I was making it, I was like, I feel like he would like this one. And so then you picked it and I'm like, see,
you read me right. I love this. And like I
congrats.
said, since I wear a lot of black, I can wear this a lot.
Yeah.
So Cool Hand Podcast with the black beaded bracelet, BBB. Um and I was gonna ask about the creation of your pieces as well, and the creation and the names of them too. Now, as I was scrolling through your Instagram, getting um some more material, some more questions to ask, something to think about. Now you have all these pieces. Now all of them are made by you. Now there's one with like a face on it. Which one, or like the silhouette of a face? Um, I forget what the name of it was.
Was it Sophia? Was I wearing them?
It was Sophia.
It's
Yes.
so funny because I was wearing them earlier, but you couldn't see them. So I was like, whatever, just
Uh,
I won't wear them. But I had them on earlier.
yeah. Now where do these names come from? Um, yeah.
Okay. So I had come up with I literally have a paper full of names that I've thought of and heard, and I was like, oh, that's a pretty name. And I had seen when I was researching for what I wanted to do with my page, with my Instagram, with my business, whatever. People were naming their earrings, or they were calling it like blue swirls or something. And I was like, that doesn't make you wanna buy it. You know what I mean? Like you
Mhm.
wanna buy something that you're like, oh, that's cute. That's, part of branding. And I think that as I accumulated these names, I was thinking of, okay, what are some girls' names that are kind of rare that you don't really hear and that you may hear, but you think of a nice person? Because you don't want to name a piece of jewelry that you made Becky because you think of your coworker. You think
Mhm.
of, you don't want to name it Karen because you're like, oh, I can't
Oh
stand
no.
Karen. So I don't want these earrings? So I was like, okay, let me think of something like Sophia and Florence and Elise, and something that was simple and that you're like, oh, that's nice. I don't know anybody with that name. Let me get these. I like them. So that's how that came to be.
Yeah, I like those names. The names are like very fitting. Like Sophia, that's like, an elegant, classy name.
Yeah.
Um, there was the one, it was kind of like a play off one of your friends. Was it their last name or something like that? It was
Oh, was it Ryan?
yes.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
thought ain't nobody else thinking about that. Ain't nobody else coming with up with that except you. So like that's something like that's like a Rennie made original. Like
It's so funny because that friend, like she and I have, my name's Lauren, and she's like, we both have basic names. And I'm like, listen, mine is Loren, but I'm like, you're right, we do have basic names. And like her middle name is Royan, and I'm like, that's such a beautiful name. You don't hear that. And it's kind of like a cool hipster name.
mhm.
And I was like, if like let me think about this. And she had bought something, and she was like, I was like, oh, maybe I can come up with a collection. And I didn't tell her. And so I stole her name. I mean, it's copyrighted now, but I was like, I'll just take this. And so I took her name and I named a collection after her. And she's like, oh my gosh. So
What an
yeah.
honor.
Yeah.
Shout out to her for lending your name.
You know who you are.
Yeah, yeah, you know who you are. So, let's talk about the creation of these pieces. What's the thought process behind the earrings you make, the bracelets you make? What's going through your mind, and how do you come up with these things?
You know what? I just look at something and I can visualize it. I can visualize what I want to do with it like almost immediately. And I'm like, okay, I have to buy, if I'm in a store, I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to buy this, and then I'm going to combine them. And then sometimes, rare occasions, but I'll go to a store and I know they're having a sale, and I'll buy like a necklace or some jewelry from there, and I'll take things apart and then put them back together if I think like the piece is really really unique. Um, but yeah, mostly when I shop, sometimes I get charms from or beads from Etsy or something, and I'm like, okay, I know what I want to do with this. So yeah,
Well, it seems like it's working out. I'm sure there's a lot of trial and error with those
yeah.
things as well. All right, now this is my last like written thought out question for you. What can we expect, and what's next for Rennie Made Jewelry?
Whew, I got some things brewing in my mind. They might not be released until the new year. I just want to kind of take my winter break and just reinvent my page. I feature a lot of models that are some of my friends, some people that I know, some people I don't know, and it's nice to see girls and beautiful women wearing my stuff and being able to kind of model what they've purchased. And I think it's a nice incentive for other people to buy it. I don't know why, but like I'll advertise something and nobody will say anything. And then you get a girl to wear it in a pretty picture in her nice makeup, and her cute little outfit, whatever. And then somebody will be like, wait, I want 3 of those. And I'm, are you kidding? But I think it's so funny because, you know, you want to relate to a person, you kind of want to see what it looks like, and you're like, I want to be cute like her. And then you're more inclined to buy. So I think in this new year, I might do more of that. I might do less of that. I don't know. I'm trying to jot down any sort of little idea I have, but things are coming. New collections with unique names are coming, and maybe more men's jewelry. Who knows?
We're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it, and um, I love to see my friends do things creatively. That's why I asked you to be on. So I really appreciate it, and I'm sure I speak for anyone who may be watching that we're all looking forward to more Rennie made jewelry. So, is there anything that I missed? Anything you wanted to just to say? A random fact, a shout out, anything?
Um, I mean, this interview is in no way, I think, um, you're not inclined, you don't have to look at my stuff, but I think that, um, you know, just the support that I've gotten thus far, I'm so, so appreciative for, because this just turned into like a midnight idea that I had one night. And now that I'm making jewelry and different things for different people, I just feel very appreciative for that. So you know, I'm thankful, and I'm thankful to you for having me on this show. I've always like watched your podcast and think that they were so funny, and I'd see like different people, my favorite different people, and be like, oh, let me watch this just because it's that person. So,
Mhm.
so thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for being on. This is the Cool Hand Podcast. Rennie made jewelry. She said you don't have to look at her page. I'm telling you to look at it. Look at this. Come on, y'all. And I love it. I'm gonna buy more Rennie made jewelry. Cool Hand Podcast. Something you got to deal with. Let's get some clapping in there. All right. Clap, clap, clap.
Yay.
All right. It's over.